Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, there's been a tragic development in the search for a missing swimmer at Launceston's Cataract Gorge. For more, we cross to our reporter Josh Duggan. Josh, has the woman been found?
Louise, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, police divers recovered the woman's body here at the First Basin. The woman in her 20s had been swimming here with family and friends when she was reported missing yesterday afternoon. Emergency services had been on the scene since then, with divers in the water all day today. It has been a very difficult task for them with virtually zero visibility in the water, so they were forced to do a lot of work by feel. Police say there won't be any more details released out of respect to the women's friends and family, and we're sending our condolences to them. Louise?
Hundreds of new Australians have officially become citizens this Australia Day in ceremonies across the state, while some of Tasmania's everyday heroes have been recognised for their contribution to society.
A moment to remember for some of Australia's newest citizens. January 26, a reason to celebrate for partners Eduardo and Karen, who made the move from Brazil 5 years ago.
Dream that's coming true.
Former UK resident Tony McDonald couldn't find Tasmania on a map before he moved with his wife, but he's been welcomed to the state with open arms.
So I found the people were just so different. They were just so more friendly.
He's among many Tasmanians who commemorated Australia Day. There were the usual games of cricket and barbecues by the beach, while others turned out in droves for the annual Sandy Bay Regatta. 15-year-old Molly Davis winning the ocean swim race despite a rocky start.
Unfortunately, I didn't realise where I was meant to come in because my goggles fogged up the entire swim. So I was like, am I meant to stop there or there? But it was a really good experience.
Tasmanian community leaders were recognised for their positive contribution to society. Lee Yang awarded the City of Hobart Citizen of the Year for her work with young skilled migrants.
From 2017, there is a lot of young people moved from interstate and overseas, so they need support as well. So I think maybe I can do something to solve the problems for both of them.
24-year-old human rights advocate Oliver Havenden becoming Young Citizen of the Year.
So many young people who are really passionate and really have a lot of fire in their belly but don't necessarily know how to translate that into actually achieving change, and that's a really important thing, I think, to do.
Just some of the many Tasmanians making the state proud. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
A swimming superstar, motorsport veteran and an advocate for Aboriginal land rights are among the other Tasmanians toasted in today's Australia Day honours. Leading the list is a pioneering climate expert who's turning the tide on what we know about the planet around us.
Hobart may be the home of Professor John Church's groundbreaking research, but the sweeping ice sheets of Antarctica is where his inspiration lies.
It's something you can't imagine until you get there.
A pioneer in rising sea levels, Professor Church has spearheaded global efforts to protect the planet's fragile bones. His research spans 5 decades and is gradually changing the way the nation thinks.
The public's becoming increasingly aware that warming of the oceans and the huge amount of heat that it's taking up is a critical part of climate and climate change.
His work is now being recognised with the Order of Australia. And while the professor has sought solutions to global problems, former Flinders Island Mayor Lynn Mason has championed local causes, significantly when Waibalina on Flinders Island returned to Aboriginal hands in the 90s.
Council agreed that on behalf of the community, as Mayor, I should apologise to the Aboriginal community and those members of the stolen generation.
She rates that moment of reconciliation as one of her proudest achievements from more than 2 decades on the council.
It indicated such a strong community that was able to acknowledge that things were not perfect.
Our world-beating Olympic hero Ariane Titmus is another on Tasmania's honour roll, while a legend of local motorsport, Terence Bracken, is racing away with his own recognition.
It's been a family affair for years.
Mr Bracken ran the country's first HQ Holden race at Symmons Plains in 1988, and he helped the inaugural Targa Tasmania hit top gear in 1992. Looking back, he says the public's biggest fear was road closures.
Their main complaint was, oh, what if there's an accident on the farm, how are we going to get an emergency in there? I said, well, how long would your normal response be? And they said, oh, probably half to 3/4 hour. I said, well, we can have medics to you within 15 minutes because we've got them at the start of every stage.
All exemplifying Tasmania's endeavour to make a difference. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Invasion Day protests have also been held across the nation to mark January 26. Aboriginal people and supporters gathered, calling on the date for Australia Day to be changed. Due to COVID concerns, Hobart's rally was streamed online this year, with prominent Aboriginal Tasmanians voicing their concerns.
We fight for justice and the rights of Aboriginal people, for the return of our lands, while all the time educating the public on the deliberately hidden black history of Lutruwita.
Events in Melbourne and Sydney drew huge crowds. Potential vandalism to an Aboriginal petroglyph site in the state's northwest is being investigated. The Department of Natural Resources and Environment says they received the report on Monday afternoon. They're now working to ascertain whether part of it was dislodged by tidal movement or removed and when it might have occurred.
It's an absolute disgrace that there is still no heritage protection for ancient Aboriginal heritage in this state.
Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact Parks and Wildlife or Crime Stoppers. An East Devonport man has been charged with murder following the death of a Sprint man on Sunday night. The 25-year-old was arrested at home on Stevens Street shortly after midnight yesterday. Aggravated burglary and unlawful setting fire to property are also among his alleged offences. He's due to face the Devonport Magistrates Court tomorrow. Labor has accused the state government of stealing $30,000 worth of rapid antigen tests to the government. Labor leader Rebecca White accused the government of giving away the tests at a time Tasmanians are struggling to access them. But Health Minister Jeremy Rockliff has hit back, revealing an interim supply of rats has been provided to the Australian Antarctic Division, and the federal government will reimburse the state for the cost. It comes as Tasmania recorded the 4th death since borders reopened and 712 new cases overnight. A funding program helping supply vehicles to the struggling rental car market in Tasmania has been deemed a success by the state's tourism body. Hundreds have signed on to the hire and drive incentive as car sharing platforms help fill the dire need for rental wheels.
Joining Tasmania's fast-growing sharing economy was a no-brainer for Ben Palmer.
You can share a house, you can share a scooter, you can share a car. And we can provide a bit more of a personalised service.
He's one of many helping to fill the growing demand for rental vehicles, establishing a small family business just weeks ago through a car sharing app.
The prices that have gone up because of that lack of rental cars has been quite obscene, to be honest. It's very difficult to buy a new car anywhere in Australia at the moment.
The state government's Hire and Drive reimbursement program, which has been extended until next Monday, helped him kick off his fleet of wheels.
But the government grant really inspired us to have a bit of a go, or have a crack as they say, and we've now got 12 cars on the Car Next Door platform.
Tasmania's always been a traditional fly-drive market, and without hire cars then they can't do the drive component.
The availability of vehicles, something the tourism sector believes is vital to the industry's success.
As the market stabilises, as stock comes and gets back to normal, we obviously expect the limitations that have been there to ease over the next 12 months.
In the last month alone, thousands of interstate visitors have hired a vehicle in Tasmania, and car sharing platforms expect that number to only continue to grow.
It's absolutely been amazing in Tasmania. We've had over 350 cars join the platform, and they've really filled that gap.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmanian News.
A prominent Tasmanian Aboriginal advocate is behind a new moving sound and art installation officially launched in Hobart today. Catania Maynard collaborated with artist Vernon Archie for the iconic project. The work is designed to reclaim Parliament lawns and celebrate the strength of Tasmanian Aboriginal protest.
There are references to the Black War and the horrors of the Black War, and there are some poetry pieces that talk about my own reflections on protests within Tasmania and my own feelings as an Aboriginal woman.
The official opening of the installation was timed to coincide with the local Change the Date rally and will remain on show for onlookers until next Sunday.
Tasmanian cricketer Nicola Carey has been named in the national squad heading to New Zealand for the Women's World Cup. Carey is among 15 players named, while Tigers players Heather Graham, Molly Strano and Elise Villani are emergencies for the final two matches in the Women's Ashes in Melbourne. Australia's World Cup campaign begins on March 5 against England. Tasmanian Rain Smith shot a career-high 25 points for Charleston in college basketball, including a three-pointer, which handed his side the lead late in the game.
Wide open three, bang!
It was his sixth three-pointer for the night. His side went on to win by a point. Now another Tasmanian in action, Hobart's Josh Burden, who has claimed pole position driving in the LMP3 class for this weekend's Rolex 24 at Daytona. Burden was re-signed by Team Andretti for a full season after a strong showing behind the wheel last year.
Good evening everyone. Launceston saw a top of 24 degrees today, Burnie and Devonport both 23 and 19 in Hobart. Strahan, the state's top today, reaching 28, Flinders Island and Smithton 25, and St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Grove all 19. Some areas of clear sky can be seen about the west of the state today, with extensive low cloud elsewhere. Further out, that extensive low cloud is also visible over the north, east and central areas of the mainland, as well as the far south of Western Australia. Tomorrow, a high can be seen over the Tasman Sea and a low to the west of Tasmania, producing a northerly flow over the state. A trough then extends from that low to a low over Western Australia. Northeasterly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, reaching 35 knots in the northwest, and there is a gale warning in place for the far northwest coast, and a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters, including Frederick Henry, Norfolk and Storm Bays, the Derwent Estuary and the Channel. Clearing showers and 27 in Hobart tomorrow, Cygnet 29, New Norfolk reaching 30. Launceston showers and 27, 22 and showers in Devonport, 26 in Campbelltown. Burnie reaching 22 degrees tomorrow, showers and 29 in Strahan, Smithton a top of 23. And 24 in St Helens, a shower or two and 25 in Swansea and Fingal reaching 23. In the UV tomorrow is extreme 11s across the state with sunset expected at 8:40 p.m. Looking on to Friday, showers easing about the west during the afternoon, showers about the northwest on Saturday with possible thunderstorms, and on Sunday, showers in the northwest, otherwise fine elsewhere. 33 in Perth tomorrow, Canberra 29, Sydney and Brisbane partly cloudy, and 32 in Darwin. And it's currently partly cloudy across the state with Hobart 19 degrees, 24 in Launceston and Devonport 22, and that's all in weather tonight, Louise.
Lovely, thank you for that, Chelsea, and that's all your news for tonight as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again later with updates. Good night.